All right, call to order the Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 9th. Can we get roll call, please?
Commissioner Santos? Commissioner Ortiz?
Present.
Commissioner Franz?
Present.
Vice Chair Rodriguez Ceja?
Present.
And then just for the record, Commissioner Santos is absent.
Thank you. And Commissioner Ortiz, will you lead us through the pledge?
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. Now is the item on the agenda for rotation of chair and vice chair.
So due to the vacant chairperson position, everyone just rotates to, so all I really need to do is change the nameplate, so I would need like 5 minutes.
Okay, great. And we'll take a 5-minute recess. Thank you. Okay, we'll continue with our meeting. This is the moment for the agenda where we receive public comments not on the agenda. Do we have any?
There are none.
Okay, great. And then we're going to move the agenda item for the meeting minutes to a later time. Do we need to make a motion?
Chair, you're in control of the order of the agenda unless the commission wants to override it. So if you want to say we'll take it at the end, then we'll take it at the end.
Great. If there's no objection, we'll push it to the end of the agenda. Okay, we'll move over to agenda item 7, study session items, and we have a presentation for 7.1.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Nicolas Huitron, Assistant Planner with the Community Development Department. Item 7.1 is a project consultation for the Ventana Apartments, a proposed 200-unit multi-family residential development submitted by La Paloma Homes Incorporated. The approximately 10-acre project site is located east of Jefferson Street and north of Dunbar Drive, identified by our assessor parcel numbers 606 050 028, 606 050 00011, and 606 050 012. The site is adjacent to the Heritage Palms Country Club and is immediately south of the Northgate single-family housing community. Under General Plan 2040, the site has a land use designation of Connected Neighborhood High and is zoned Connected Neighborhood 20 or CN20. The proposed density aligns with the designations and therefore is permitted by right. As proposed, the project includes 21 and 2-story apartment buildings, offering a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. The project amenities include a community building, a swimming pool, landscape open spaces, and internal pedestrian pathways. At this stage, the applicant has not submitted a formal application. Instead, they are seeking preliminary feedback from the Commission on the conceptual site plan and floor plans and building elevations, which are included in tonight's packet. As noted in the staff memorandum, the project will ultimately require discretionary planning review approval from the Planning Commission. It must demonstrate consistency with the Unified Development Code and the General Plan. In addition, the project is subject to the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. An initial study will be required to evaluate potential environmental impacts and determine the appropriate level of environmental review. This site is also located within the Bermuda Dunes Airport Compatibility Plan area. As a result, the applicant will need to coordinate with the Riverside County Airport Land Use Commission, or ALUC, and provide proof of consistency as part of a formal application. I will also note for the public record, tonight's consultation is informational only. No formal action is being requested, and staff welcomes the Commission's feedback on the conceptual plans, and the applicant is also present this evening should you have any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Nico. Do we have any questions for Nico? So can we ask the applicant to?
I think we open the public hearing, Stephen.
You can start with the applicant if you'd like, but it'd be better to open the public hearing so their comments are part of the public hearing.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on this item, and then we'll ask the applicant to come up.
Thank you. My name is Benjamin Egan, a civil engineer. My office is located at 73605 Dinah Shore Drive, Suite 1330 in Palm Desert, zip code 92211. Wanted to discuss just a few things. Staff has given you a pretty good idea where we're at. Development-wise, we feel that we're on board with what the general plan is seeking here. We want to put 200 units. We would have approached sooner, but there's been issues with getting power. I don't think I have to go into detail about that. We now feel that enough progress has been made with getting a substation and power availability in the area that we could move forward with this project. You can see the site plan. It's very basic at this point, but we're proposing no 3-story buildings, even though the code would allow it. We are keeping everything to 2 stories. This is because we've already given consideration to the residential uses to the north and the south. From previous experience on projects, we found that people are concerned about their views. We're aware there's no rights to them, but we're not deaf to the concerns of the community. So we're going to limit this to 2-story maximum height. We're going to try and buffer it as much as we can. We're willing to work with massaging this site plan as long as we can still get our unit count to even further distance the buildings. They meet minimum now, but we'd be willing to try and get further distancing from the adjoining residential uses. So definitely would like your feedback on that. And then, do you have the floor plans and the elevations? Do I? Oh, I do that. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is just the site. It's vacant. Maybe you guys drive by it sometimes. It's highly trafficked. It's right there at Jefferson and Indio Boulevard. You've got obviously some existing single-family residential around it, but you've also to the north got the Starbucks and the Sonic. And we know that we've got a lot more commercial retail uses, hopefully planned for that area, that will materialize soon. So this higher density housing not only is compatible with the general plan, but I think is a good candidate for the site. I will draw your attention to just the northwest corner. There's an existing retention basin there. So we're either going to have to keep that intact or relocate it, because the city engineer has advised us that, of course, takes there's an easement for that, and it takes drainage from Jefferson Street. So we will either integrate that into a larger basin that we build for the development, or it'll stay in place, or we'll have to relocate it and put in storm drain structures. But we won't be messing with anything that disrupts the city's drainage patterns. There's also, I don't know if you can see the terrain, there's a pretty big hill out there. At the time we flew this, some dirt may have been borrowed by when they developed the housing development to the north, but we'll get the site leveled off and clean. These are the elevations. The architect could not be here, so you're going to have to suffer through the presentation of a civil engineer presenting architectural information. I deeply apologize for that. But you can see it's a 2-story contemporary. We haven't even picked colors yet. So we'll get a material board and colors together. But before we even went that far, we wanted to make sure that we were on the right track with what you want to see. If you want to see Spanish colonial or something, if we're going the wrong way with this, that's why we wanted to have this early opportunity to get some feedback from the commission. So this is one of the building elevations. There's another view that shows, I think we've got the front broken up pretty nicely there. You see we've got exterior stairwells. I think this is one of the larger buildings. So I'll just kind of go through these. I don't know if you have any questions. You can see we've tried to articulate the vertical elements and the horizontal elements to try and break the building facade up a little bit.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but maybe you can explain to the commission, like, it's very hard to read, it's very small, like the total height of these structures and any other details that you can, provide.
Yeah, I think our maximum height is 20, I can't read it on there. Can I walk up to it real quick? Our maximum structure height articulates between 24 and 26 feet. So we've got, you can see we've got some garages included in the units. You can see the garage doors on the back there. We're certainly welcome to any feedback you have if we need to further articulate the rear elevations, but we really put our focus on the front. Let me go back to that. So you can see the articulation there. We've got some eyebrows. We've got some articulation in the horizontal plane. And you can see we've got some articulation in the vertical plane. So we certainly can augment it, but this is the concept we'd like to move forward with. Here's the floor plans. That helps you get some idea of the horizontal articulation. You can see we've got patios with recessed entries, the stairwells recessed, and then the bedrooms popped out. So this is these are the type 1 buildings. They're stacked, I believe these are stacked 1-bedroom units. And this here is the floor plan for the 2-bedroom units. And this is the floor plan. That's also a 2-bedroom unit. And this is the 3-bedroom unit. So I don't know if, I realize we sent these over. I'll ask very quickly. Do you know if they got, were these in their packets, or is these the ones? Okay, good, okay. So I don't know if you had a chance to review them. I won't take more of your time than is necessary then. And I think, yeah, I'm going to get back to, there we go, there's the garages. So those are adequate for a single car. We also will have just some on-site parking, and we'll meet all the covered parking criteria. I wish I had a better site plan. We just didn't have time to get it further along. We did want to get some feedback at the early stage. We also have the pool building. So you can see we've got locker rooms, compliant restrooms, a kitchen prep area, and a assembly room. And that's the end of the slides. So I'm here to answer questions, but I also actually really wanted to hear from you, what your thoughts were, concerns were, things you'd like to see in the community. Oh, one last thing before I give up the floor. We would like there to be the potential for individuals in the community to become owners. So we would likely bring this in as a condominium development so that these could be sold and owned by residents. It wouldn't be a purely rental community. We may retain them, we may develop them as condos and retain them for rental for a time, but we would like to or intend to process a condominium plan to subdivide these into 200 condominium units so they can be sold.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have questions? Yeah, great.
First of all, you just answered the first one, any chance of people buying an entry-level home, so thank you very much for that. I think that's very important, so I appreciate that you're already kind of that far ahead. When it comes to 200 units, you know, parking is always a challenge. You mentioned garages and some covered parking. Would each unit be assigned one garage, or only certain units get garages, and how many would and how many don't?
Our intent right now is to meet the development code and then obviously take a product to market that people will want to own. And we certainly can look at modifying it to make sure every unit got a garage. I don't think the development code requires us to do that, but when we look at these and taking them to market, I think we want to try and provide that to everyone. So it's just a matter of if it can fit. Because remember, we're also we want to stick with a 2-story constraint.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure that that's something that it's a high priority.
It is absolutely a high priority.
Especially if you want to sell them in the future. People need a place for at
Yes.
least a car, if not
Yeah.
two. Okay, so that was one. The back, you mentioned maybe a little more articulation because it is got a huge amount of white space, and I know you guys are really early on in this, so I would like to see more articulation. I think it's important to the overall aesthetics of the building and keeping people from deciding they need to draw on a wall. Okay, so I think that would be important. I'm assuming that with the landscape plan, there's going to be walking paths, access for them to safely exit, walk down to Sonic or whatever's right around the corner, because I think that's real important to encourage people not to always drive, right? So walkability to me is very important. And I did see the recreation room, but will there also be like half basketball courts? I couldn't quite figure out if there's going to be any outdoor recreation
yes,
space.
We are proposing tennis court, it'd probably tennis basketball.
Tennis,
and
basketball,
pickleball
okay.
and a pool.
Perfect. I figured you were, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we don't have the best, there we go. Yeah, I don't know if you can see on there, but
Kind of that corner.
we're proposing some courts up
Yeah.
by that retention basin, and then the
Yep.
community building has a pool.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming, are you planning for this to be a gated community or for this to be an ungated community?
We had, so at our pre-application review with staff, we had anticipated possibly doing it as a gated community. Because of Jefferson being an arterial and because of how far we would have to set back the gates to get adequate stacking space for entry off Jefferson, we may elect not to gate it. So we're still finessing the site plan to see if we can get the adequate stacking, but I've talked to the developers and they're not insistent this be gated, so we're open on that at the time being. What would your preference be?
You know, I kind of think open would be better, but I also want to make sure that there's some type of a safety perimeter around the recreation area specifically. I mean, Jefferson, people forget it's actual city road and drive like you're on I-10, so there's that. So, I mean, I would want to make sure that there's some safety around that area if it is going to be an
Yeah.
open.
So we would definitely install fencing and landscaping along the frontage, and it would be barricaded that you would only be able to enter the Jefferson Parkway sidewalks from the entries. Yeah, we would definitely have, and then we would have obviously interior perimeter fencing around some areas like a kiddie play area and the pool and things.
I think that was it. My biggest one is when you're doing the landscape, you know, shade is a premium. So anything and everything we can do to add shade is priceless out here in the desert. So I think when you guys get into more detail, that's something to just stay focused on. And trees that will take our unique weather pattern. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say that it's great that you guys are looking into actually allowing people to buy these condominiums in the long run. Personally, I'm an advocate of like bringing developments into the community that people can afford and can start like a starter home. So I want to say that it's great that you guys are looking into that. I want to touch on parking. So you said that you're not sure like if every condominium or every like apartment is going to have like a garage, but how many parking spaces are they going to have? Like, is it going to be one per condominium or?
Right now, it's planned out to meet the city code
Okay.
as far as parking. Now, as far as enclosed, secured garage spaces, that's can be finessed a little bit. But as of right now, we've designed it to meet the minimum city code. So there's a requirement, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nico, I think it's 1 space for a 1 bedroom, 1.5 for a 2 bedroom, and 2 for a 3 bedroom. Is that, or if you can?
Correct. As proposed, as the project's proposed at this time, it would require 440 parking spaces.
440? Okay. For 200 units.
And if we have room, now remember, we're trying to keep this to 2 stories, so this affects our
Yeah.
footprint. But if we have room for extra spaces and we've accommodated adequate amenities, we're not going to put 440 in and stop. If I got room for 10 more, we're going to put in 10 more. So yeah, we understand parking is very important. So we will absolutely meet the minimum. If we have any extra space, we will use some of it for parking.
Perfect. And then the last thing I just want to touch base, and I want to second what Vice Chair, Vice Chairperson Fajardo said. We need some shade, you know, especially here in the desert. It's very hot, like as you know, it's hot right now. So as much shade that you can guys put, like, you know, we really appreciate that. And then that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. This might sound weird because of the issue that you uplifted at the beginning of your presentation about the electricity issues, but I think one of the ways of, or one of the things that we've been doing is requiring, or for some developments requiring electric chargers, and that's actually something that's happening in the community. Is that something that you guys are considering on the development for?
We absolutely, of course, will have to meet the code minimum requirements for solar and for electric chargers, which also includes the minimum for future EV spaces that can be activated. We are also looking at, we're going to definitely let market tell us. If, as we get a little further into this, we find out that 20% of the users are going to have electric vehicles and only 5 or 10% are required by code, we're going to put more spaces in. Absolutely. We're very, we want to market this as a very modern, up-to-date community. So we want all the technology to be cutting edge and not be short on it.
And I'm assuming that you've done this type of development. So who are you marketing this to? What's the sort of ongoing rate? Yeah, what are the demographics that you plan to bring into your development?
So we have, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom units. So this markets from single individuals and couples looking for a unit to families to retired couples. Our market demographic is pretty wide. Just anybody who wants a very nice upscale place to live that has nice amenities that are taken care of, so they don't have to mow their own yard. That's our target market is affordable, but at market rate, upscale living.
Okay, but this is not a luxury development.
Not luxury, no.
Okay,
That is not what
All
we're
right.
intending.
got it. Okay, that's
By
important.
upscale, I need to clarify, I'm not talking about price, I'm talking about amenities. Nice landscaping, walking paths, nearby things that you can walk to, exercise room, pool, tennis courts, basketball, bocce ball, that's stuff that you would have that you wouldn't normally even have in a really nice single-family home. That's what we're talking about is the amenities.
Got it. Yeah, thank you. And I think just to echo some of the sentiments about the landscape plan, the shade is really important. Especially I am a renter. I live in an apartment complex. I see people, and I have to pay for the shaded. I get a garage, but I also have to pay extra if I want, shaded parking. I see people really trying to find that one small sliver of shade by that one tree off to the distance. And so, just definitely something that you want to consider as you're working with your landscape architect is making sure that as you're thinking about circulation and how people want to live and operate, and the fact that it's 117 today, and I forgot to get my car window tinted. And so that's, that just one person here who might be a potential client, just letting you know there are some real issues with some of the developments out here pertaining to just the way that we're providing shade and cooling measures, and take that also into consideration about the types of decisions that you're making, DG versus concrete, and so just really thinking through how to make your development not contribute more to the urban heat island effect, and so lots of really good cooling strategies that could be implemented, like shade, native trees and things like that. So we'll be looking for that. And then the only other thing that I think I just wanted to raise was also about, it looks just with what you have now with elevations, it's a pretty modern design, but echo the sentiments about, making sure that we're not leaving just blank spaces and that we're being very intentional about the design that also help attract people within the community. And I really like the idea of a transition to buy. I would say right now there is a real need for that, and so waiting that time period, I might encourage you to look into if some should be up for sale while others are for rental. I don't know if that has anything to do with our permitting or what we have, but because there is a real need. We have a need for housing and young families who want to purchase, but there are just not enough options. We have the invisible middle within our city that are just not able to purchase and build their generational wealth. So those are my 2 cents, and thank you for bringing this up to us. Oh, one more comment.
Since I have you here, I'm going to take advantage.
Please.
Tennis courts, I'm assuming you're going to also set it up for pickleball, right? Because
Yes.
that's like the thing where if you don't do
That's-
that, you're in deep trouble right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good. There you go. Also, is there going to be like an on-site manager or just someone that manages the clubhouse? Or how is that, how are you planning for that to be managed?
What we do intend, as long as there's a significant of apartments that need lease, to have an on-site manager. If it transitions to being fully owner-occupied, the HOA would have to decide if they want to continue the expense of an on-site manager. But as long as we have a substantial, really any rental units in it, then we would have an on-site manager, absolutely.
Perfect, that was it. Thank you so much. Looking forward to getting a little more information.
Commission, if I may add something and maybe you could address, on the south side, it looks like there's a 30-foot pipeline and access easement. Is that something, if you move forward with this project, that you propose to either landscape, or what would you propose in that area? If you could maybe just
Yeah.
present that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot to mention that, so thank you. Number one, we don't want to relocate it. We want to build away from those homes, so that creates a nice buffer. And yes, we absolutely would like to landscape it, and would actually like to maybe put a DG path or something on it. So subject to any constraints that are put on us by the easement holder, we're very happy to investigate anything we can do to make that corridor a nice pedestrian breezeway or walkway or something for the development.
Great, thank you.
We have a new commissioner that just came in late, so we haven't closed it, so Commissioner Santos, if you would like him to maybe recap, I'm sure he's more than able to do that. If you'd like to, since you came in late, how would you like to proceed? Is there like maybe an abbreviated?
Yeah, I could go
Since we
quickly.
just have a commissioner that arrived.
Sure. I'll go quickly. You tell me if I need to slow down. So you can see the site plan, 200 units proposed at Jefferson. This is just south of the Sonic and Starbucks that's out there. This is the existing site. Point out there's a retention basin in the northwest corner that takes the drainage off Jefferson. That will remain. And then as Brian just mentioned for us, there's a existing easement on the south side that will remain in place. These are the elevations, so you can see that we're going for a very, contemporary architecture. So we're looking for feedback. I'll just go through these quickly. They're in your packet, so you can review them. It was brought up by one of the commissioners that some of our rear elevations might be a little bit Spartan, so we've already gotten some feedback to maybe see if we can offset those a little bit more. And you can see we've got garages, so I'll just point that out real quick. And then these are the floor plans, so this is a one-bedroom floor plan that you're looking at, 4 units. This is a 2-bedroom floor plan that you're looking at, 4 units. This is building type 2. And there's the second floor for that building type. This is building type 3, so this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And that's the second floor plan for the type 3 building. This is the type 4 building. So this is a combination of 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom units. There's the second floor. And then there's the garages. And there's the pool building. And I will go back to the first slide just to point out. So, because amenities were brought up, so we will have tennis and pickleball and basketball courts, a community room building with locker rooms and a pool, and trails and everything throughout the development. So, any questions?
Sorry. My only question is, currently with the development, there's no access on the south side of the project in regards to where 43 would be?
Correct. This project backs up to Heritage Palms, and I don't think, let me see if I have, is it on the survey? There's an existing structure. I don't know if you can see that hatching. I can come point to it. So that's an existing structure that's right on the property line there. I actually don't remember who it belongs to. It might be possible to punch something through on the south side. We expected we might be able to get an adequate corridor in there to get a utility easement to get the power in there from the future substation site. But we were not expecting to be able to get access. We expect all of our access to come off of Jefferson, which is why we're proposing the 2 entries to Jefferson for fire department circulation. If it's possible to acquire the right-of-way and everything, we're willing to look at that, but we probably have to work with you on the site plan if you're actually trying to bring 43rd through. I don't think we want it to go through the development.
Okay, yeah, and the only reason why I ask is trying to create, if they're able to incorporate 43 to go through, all the way through Burr, just to alleviate some of the traffic concerns that already Burr has at India Boulevard or towards the entrance where the in between the AM PM and the Starbucks portion, just to alleviate some of that traffic. And it's more of a drive-through than actual access to the development, and it gives an additional buffer for the 2-story building now overseeing the Heritage Palm backyards.
Yeah, as long as we can squeeze in the site plan. There's an existing easement through there. I would just need to know how much you would want us to widen it, what you would condition us to dedicate, and we could take a look at that. I don't think we have anyone from engineering here, so I mean, I can follow up with them, though.
Yeah,
Right.
no, we don't, and obviously they don't, at this point, they don't do a review of it. It's just very conceptual and very
But
early.
we can definitely put that on our radar.
Yeah, I think even if it would be like a one-way in each direction would be sufficient. If that's able to, again, it all depends on the easement availability and the right-of-way and stuff like that and the development. But I would just, if you can just have that annotated so to keep an eye out to see if
Yeah.
we're able to accommodate it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I don't know if it's on the general plan circulation element or anything, but I mean, if we can accommodate, I don't object
Yeah,
out of hand.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I am looking at it right now, the mobility element of our general plan, and it's not. You'll see the residential development there that's existing, but no, that's not a proposed through street. Now, one thing that's interesting is sometimes when projects come up, if there's a need and there's a traffic study that supports a need for like an emergency access point or other points to get out, et cetera, then that can certainly be conditioned. But right now, there wouldn't be a nexus with the general plan mobility element for that.
But we came here for feedback. We'll certainly take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think even if there was like a 43 going straight through on the public safety side, it would give fire potentially, if there was a structure fire in the Heritage Palm side, room to be able to combat that fire from all angles versus just from the front side of that house without
Well, and the easement's 30 feet, so I think we could easily accommodate emergency access, because I think their minimum from that is 24 or 26 feet. So certainly that's, I think, achievable. We would just have to put a surface down that works. I want to balance that with trying to create a nice, walkway in there, so maybe we can get creative with it. So yeah, we'll be happy to look at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have any comments from the public?
We don't have any comments.
All right, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing, yeah, thank you.
Oh, and I just wanted to note, just because
Yeah, please.
shading was a big topic as far as parking, for the heat island reduction in our code, we do have 50% of all of the areas not landscaped shall be shaded. And if it's shaded by trees, they have to meet the shading requirement within 15 years of planting. I just wanted to note that, just because it came up.
Appreciate it, thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to study item 7.2.
We'll wait for the presentation to come up. Good afternoon, Chairperson and members of the Planning Commission. The item before you is a project consultation for a proposal to amend the specific plan for the crossings. The project proposal is, like I mentioned, is to amend the currently approved, that was approved back in 2020, on May of 2020, and the applicant is D.R. Horton. The current general plan is suburban neighborhood high, and the current zoning is for the crossing specific plan. The project is located at 602 090 001. Here's a vicinity map kind of showing the surrounding area. So the project is generally located north of Avenue 50 and east of Jefferson Street. To the north and east, you have residential, and you have the city of La Quinta to the south, and then you have the Citrus Plaza and the Canopy at Citrus located to the west of the property. The applicant is proposing to develop 127 detached single-family for-sale homes on 16.6 acres. The crossing specific plan, as you can see here, the current land use allows for 2-story fourplexes, 1-story duplexes, 2-story duplexes, and single-family detached. The proposal would be to do an all single-family detached. The current density is 6.2 acres or 103 units, and the proposal is to go to 8 dwelling units per acres. And so, at this density, they could go up to 132 units, but the applicant is only proposing 127. The lot size, the current lot size is 4,700 square feet, and the proposal would be to go down to 3,600 square feet. The other change that they're proposing is to revise the front yard setbacks from 20 feet to 18 feet from the garage and 12 feet from livable interior spaces. The other changes include updating all the exhibits to match the proposed changes for the specific plan. One thing to note is the subject property, like I mentioned, has for the general plan 2040, has a land use designation of suburban neighborhood high, which is consistent with the current proposal. However, the crossing specific plan, the current zoning, it is not. The project will require an amendment to the crossing specific plan, and the proposed single-family residential will require a design review and a tentative track map application. The project would require a recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission to the City Council, with final action by the City Council for the amendment to the specific plan and the track map. For the design review, that would require approval by the Planning Commission unless it is appealed to the City Council. The project must also demonstrate compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. That's my presentation. The applicant is here to take feedback from the Commission on the proposal to amend the specific plan.
Great. Thank you so much for the presentation. Do we have any questions for staff at this time? Should we let okay. We'll go ahead and open the public comment and let the applicant do his presentation.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. My name is Rudy Provost, and I represent the applicant, D.R. Horton. As Gustavo presented, I don't formally have like a presentation. This is really early on for us, and I was talking to Brian in the meeting a few weeks ago, and we were able to get in front of you and get some feedback early on, hopefully to get that early on in our design of the project, and hopefully help the entitlement process run a little smoother. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Do we have any questions?
Maybe if we could, since he doesn't have a presentation, we put that site plan back up. So if you guys do want to look at that and comment, we at least have that on the screen. Yeah, that's what I meant, if we could pull the presentation up from. Yeah, that's the wrong one. I don't know who could change that. You'd have IT. We'll change that. Give us one moment.
We can start. So first of all, really appreciate you guys coming in early to give us a chance to discuss this. I'm definitely the most senior person on here, so I was here when we went through the desert crossing plans and the conversations with the community members and the surrounding homeowners, and there was a lot of time and effort put into that particular design, and part of the way it was designed was that the homes in the farther north side that back up to those Desert River Estate homes were going to be larger, a little more compatible with the homes that are on the other side. Of course, not like them, but a little more compatible. And it really was a lot of back and forth with the community and the developer. So if we're going to increase the density, which is already, it was hard to get to 103, okay? And then shrink the lot sizes by 1,100 square feet, so that's like 30% smaller. And then shorten the setbacks and make all the houses single story, so they're all gonna look pretty much exactly the same, or whatever couple of variations the developer has that people can buy, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like it meets what we discussed years ago about trying to make this almost like a transitional development where you had larger homes toward the back that were a little more compatible with the houses on the other side, a little, larger lots, and then it kind of moved forward and became a higher density, right, as you got closer and closer to Avenue 50. So, to me, I feel like this is a really big shift after a whole lot of work went in to kind of come up with this. And I'm not saying this is like 100% must be built, okay? But I kind of wanted you to have the history of the fact that this was designed with a lot of community feedback, and I mean a lot. And so if we're going to make big changes like this, we're going to have to expect a lot of community feedback. And the 6.2 units an acre, that was tough to get to, and now we're going to try to go to 8. So it's a very different project. And I kind of wish that maybe since it's so early, you would go back and try to do something that maybe was a little more in what the community thought we approved, or we did approve, but now it's not being built, so I get that. And try to see if we can do something that the community might be able to wrap themselves around a little bit easier to do. So I just kind of wanted to give you that history. Avenue 50 is a unique part of our city. When it was annexed, it was ranches, and they were promised that they were going to have, desert equestrian out there, right? And there's some left, not others, and I don't think that it's ever going to be, everything's going to be desert equestrian. But there's a certain feel to that street, and I really think that at least for me, that I would like to see if there's a way to maintain that more than just starting with a completely different feel and very different from anything else that's up and down Avenue 50. And I do get it that it's behind a grocery store, but I want to make sure that we're keeping that in mind, and if there's something coming forward, that all of that is taken into consideration before a lot of planning and time and resources is put into it. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen, but I just thought you should kind of know a little bit of that background and how much work went into this design. Okay, so thank you.
Noted. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, this actually predates me by a few months. I came on board right after this. So, you're the only one left from that lived through this one. But, I'm actually curious about why the change in the philosophy of the development. Like, what led you all to want to change it so drastically? Because I feel you are proposing some major changes, and so I'm just curious, like, did the business model change? Did the market change? Like, what is the reasoning behind your proposed changes?
Well, we just thought a more traditional subdivision would be more, it's kind of a replacement for our Dolphina project, which is a single-family detached. So, and we don't really build too much attached product. So like the duplexes, the fourplex, things of that nature, that's not our wheelhouse. We just thought this would be more marketable. You get a larger lot, more traditional.
Sure. And who is this for?
Who's this for? It's kind of just for our current buyers. So, I mean, they range from moving down to first-time home buyers, things of that nature.
Okay, so this is just single-family market rate.
Correct.
Not specifically. Okay, so here are my thoughts. Specifically, the ability to do some of these other types of one-story duplexes or two-story duplexes. One of the things that actually I would say about this particular area and our zoning in general is that we have done a really good job about segregating certain communities from others, and I think this actually would open up what is currently there, would actually open up the ability for more diverse communities to be a part of that area of our city. And I think what you're proposing is actually more of the same, and it seems to me that there's a real intention behind wanting to do what was initially proposed, which was to do that, to open up the doors for possibilities for families that don't have the ability to be in this area of town to do that. And so I would actually say that what is being proposed is actually fundamentally straying away from, I think, what was initially thought through in early 2020. So I think I would like to see, and you all explore a possibility of bringing back something that would be closer to what was initially approved. I think that there might be a world where, especially with some of the comments by the vice chair about the sort of transition from, the connect or where it meets the housing development. But I do think that it's a missed opportunity if we were to go completely single family detached. And the reality is that our community this is for sale.
Correct.
Our community is very expensive. I said earlier, I'm a renter. I know. I've been trying to buy. And the reality is that, more of the same is actually creating less opportunities for younger families or first-time home buyers to actually enter the market. And, things are a little volatile actually at the time being. So I would actually say diversifying the model might actually make more sense from a business perspective, because it would open up more of opportunity for more people to be integrated into this particular community. And then the only other thing that I would say, I think the other thing that we want to work on is pedestrian access. We want to make sure that there is adequate circulation. There's lots of joggers. I live just down the street from there. Lots of folks, lots of joggers. It's a really vibrant, good community in that area, and I think there's a lot of opportunity with what's currently there. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any public comments?
There are none.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming and meeting with us very, very early on. Yeah, so, we have a presentation for item 7.3.
Hi again, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. The following item is another project consultation for the Concord. This proposal is located on Avenue 50 and west of Jackson Street. Put it over here, located on Jackson Street. The proposed project is located adjacent to the Barcelona residential gated community, developed by Beazer Homes, and east of the Plantation Golf Course to the south. The proposed development will consist of 2 different lot sizes for a total of 70 lots would be a minimum of 4,500 square feet in size, and 51 lots would be 5,000 square feet for a total of 121 lots. According to the applicant, the HOA maintenance would be responsible for the private streets, common landscape areas, the basin, and the perimeter landscaping. D.R. Horton is currently evaluating whether to formally request an amendment to both the general plan use designation and the zoning to allow for the proposed higher density. As you can see here, the changes would be the current general plan zoning is Desert Estates, and the proposed would be Suburban Neighborhood High. The existing zoning is Desert Estates 1, and the proposed would be Suburban Neighborhood 8. So the density would change from 1 dwelling units per acre to 8 units per acre. Also, I wanted to note that this would allow for 157 units, but the applicant is only proposing 121. The lot size would go from 40,000 square feet, like I mentioned, to the proposed two different lot sizes for the 4,500 and the 5,000 square feet. The subject property currently has a general plan of 2040 land use designation of Desert Estates, like I mentioned. So the proposed density is not consistent with both the general plan and the zoning. Therefore, the project would require a general plan amendment to the Suburban Neighborhood High and change the zone to the Suburban Neighborhood 8. The proposed single-family residential project would require a design review and a tentative tract map application. The project would require a recommendation of approval by the Planning Commission to the City Council with final action by the city council for the general plan amendment and the change of zone, and the track map, and the design review would be, it would require approval by the planning commission. The project is also subject to the California Environmental Quality Act. That concludes my presentation, and the applicant is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you so much. And we'll open the public hearing then. Oh, we have a question for you.
Yep.
Question for you.
Yes.
The project right next door, Barcelona, is that right?
Yes.
What is the density on that property?
The current density is 3.5 dwelling units per acres. 3.5.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open up the public comment and let the applicant come on. Welcome back.
Thanks, I'm back. Again, my name is Rudy Provost. Just want to get some feedback. As you can see, we designed it with the larger 5,000 square foot lots on the edges of the property, and then the smaller on the interior streets. Again, not a formal presentation, just really want to get your feedback. Trying to figure out what the best use of the property is. This is the same owner as the crossings, so they're trying to do a 2-for-1.
Single family, detached.
Correct.
Got it. All right, any comments?
Yes, I do have a question. So it says that there's 121 units proposed, but the max is 157, right? Are you guys gonna build 121 at the beginning and then be like a second phase to be completed to 157, or just gonna be 121?
Just 121.
121. Okay, got it. Okay. And then just to make sure, this is kind of very similar of like what we just saw on the previous item. So it's kind of
Correct.
it's gonna be okay. Okay. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, back to I've been on this thing way too long. I have very similar concerns with this project as I did with the previous one. I mean, Barcelona is 3.5 units to an acre, and now you want to take it to 8 units per an acre. Again, on Avenue 50, which has been designated a desert equestrian, 1 acre, 1 building. Again, this is a very dramatic change from the vision and the plan that we put a lot of time and effort with a lot of community feedback in. So I honestly have even more concerns about this one than I did the other one. I understand that we need housing and we need affordability, and not everybody, can afford a 1 acre property. I get that. But I also think that certain neighborhoods are developed a certain way with community feedback, and I kind of feel like this is really far from what we discussed. And there was a lot of community feedback when the plans were developed. So I honestly think that this is way too far off the community feedback and the vision that the city has had for Avenue 50 on that end of our community. So, sorry. That's my
No,
feedback.
I appreciate the frankness.
So as opposed to where I was saying the other one, I think the increase in density actually makes sense. And I realize that some communities have been designed a certain way. But going back to my initial comment, we don't want to do a ton more of the same because it doesn't allow us to diversify our community. And so I would actually say, look at that previous model of diversity of housing typologies and see if you guys can come in with something to propose, even if it's this higher density. I mean, I'm curious to see what the feel 5 years later, after everything that's happened after COVID, what the community's feedback would be about the need for the types of housing, and if desert estates is what we need right now, where our median age is 38 in this community, and the reality is that most of 38-year-olds probably would not be able to afford a desert estate, home. And so I'm actually intrigued about proposing a higher density development, but I think that we would need to diversify the typology in order to allow for those sort of entry level or first time home buyers. And I think that's something that's drastically needed down in this community. The majority, I think there's like 36 housing developments within that region, and more than 2/3 of those are gated, single-family, detached homes. And it just doesn't, there's just no entry for most young communities. And so, at least from my perspective, is I would say I'm very intrigued about your proposal. I would like to see diversifying of the typologies that are available, and I think you would be pleasantly surprised to see that there is a market, not only of residents, current residents here, but of people in the surrounding communities that these types of developments are just not available. Right now, everyone's stuck on the idea, this is what sells, this is what needs to be done, and there's an entire demographic that is being overshadowed by trends from 10, 15 years ago. And I think it would be in good interest to go out and similarly collect some of that feedback from the community and understand who is here currently and who would be interested in accessing this type of housing development. And we do need housing. We have our housing element telling us we need more of this typology, and we have not done that adequately across the board. We've been really good about doing sort of the two extremes. We've done luxury, we've done affordable, and then everything sort of in between we haven't been getting. And so that just tells you that we're interested as a city. So, something to bring back to your team and see if there is a world or a proposed project that caters to that community.
So you're looking for more of a product attached, I guess, would be a better...
Diversity and typology. That's all I could say. I mean, I'm not a developer, so I don't know. And I know that there's a lot of thought that goes into it, but I think we need to diversify the housing stock within our community. And so, I'm not saying no to detached single family. I think, people need them, right? People want them. But I think there are opportunities to diversify it a little bit. And, if you're going to propose this high density, then make it something innovative, something new, and something that opens you up to a market that maybe you haven't tapped into. And we're here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
My only comment, I think, in regards to the density, I think if we were to get a little bit closer towards what the community next door, closer to 3.5, I would be okay. I just think that going to a 6.8, I think it's a little bit too far from what the initial plan was. Again, I wasn't here during that time, but having a little bit more of a consistency, and I do agree with the chair regarding diversity and stuff like that. But again, at the end of the day, there was a lot of public comment that unfortunately I wasn't here, part of the commission at that time. But going based off of people that were here and heard and listened to it, I think a lot of those community members still live in those communities and take a big role in some of the decision factors that we may have to do when approving or disapproving some of these projects as well.
Is the public comment you're referring to just based on the crossings, or is there
No,
just all projects that
when we
have
were in the
been-
middle of doing the new planning, the new city
Housing
general
element?
plan and all of that, I mean, I can't even tell you how many community meetings, how many conversations, how many people came in. I mean, the community was very active and especially in that part on Avenue 50, because that's kind of a little special corner of the city. And when the city said, we're going to do a new general plan and we're going to do this and we want to do more building, and we can't have 2.5 acre and 5 acres or 1 acre be the only thing that's on Avenue 50, right? They opened the doors to the community. The community came in, they met, they spoke, they talked. It was a long and drawn out process where there was a lot of community feedback. And I'm not saying maybe, you know, Barcelona is probably the, probably about as far as, at least for me, that I would maybe look at it and say, this is something doable. If it was something unique, like the chair has said, something different, something that's not available anywhere else, that would also play a role. But to take this from a DE1 to a suburban neighborhood 8 and like one fell swoop and literally offer just single family little houses with tiny little lots, just, it doesn't feel right for that part of our city in any way, shape. At least I'm only one person, that's my personal opinion. So we thought I'd tell you now instead of later.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's why we're here, to get a pulse of what the commission wants to see. So I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to come here before us, and this is actually, I think for us, a really good exercise to learn more about where you are, and because a lot of times we're having these conversations once you guys already went through a lot of trouble and lots of work, and so we really appreciate your willingness to want to be up here twice to talk to us and just sort of gauge where we are, and we do have someone else joining, so, you know, who knows what the future might hold, but, you know, yeah, encourage you to continue to
We'll continue to
work
on
with
these.
staff, and hopefully what we said to you is of benefit or of, or workable. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Okay, we'll move on to, we can do minutes now since we're all here. So can I get a motion to approve meeting minutes for April 23rd?
I raise a motion to approve.
And I'll second. Roll call?
Commissioner Santos,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Franz, Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. And then I'll entertain a motion for meeting minutes of May 28th, 2025.
I raise a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Santos,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Franz,
Yes.
Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja,
I'll abstain.
motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to commissioner comments.
Okay, I'll go first. So I just want to thank the staff for putting out the 4th of July event. I was out of town, but I had a lot of friends and community members telling me that it was a really great event. So I just want to say thank you for putting that together for the community, just not for the residents of Indio, but for the entire Coachella Valley. So I just want to say thank you. And I also want to, I talked about it earlier in the meeting, but I know that we had those minutes from December, so I don't know, like, what's going to happen to them, if we have to approve them, or like.
Yeah, let us double check. I don't know, Paulina, if you can
Yeah,
verify.
We can put them on the next agenda.
Okay, next agenda.
Perfect. Oh, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Again, I just want to thank the staff for the continual hard work that they put on a day-to-day basis to make sure everything's working great. Again, in regards to the 4th of July, thank you guys for that. I was in attendance with my family there, and it was great for the first time seeing the drone show and stuff like that. And so, and just looking in the near future for the growth that's going to bring down to the city and the community. So, thank you.
Just want to say thank you, and I really enjoy these consultations, so I think we should encourage as many developers who are willing to do this to do it. I think it's a great use of our time and hopefully of their time as well. But thank you for everything you guys do, and please don't cook outside because today was pretty ugly.
Yeah, my comments just thanking staff. I want to thank our public safety, our Indio PD, actually, for a statement during crazy times in our community. We have seen federal agents out in our streets, and our community is feeling attacked and scared. And so I want to say that, you know, it's important that our public servants make a statement about where we stand about protecting our communities and to say that, you know, it's encouraging because as someone who is a foreign born, and I now have to carry my American passport because I don't know if I will be pulled over, it's very meaningful. And so I just want to say thank you to that team and to our council for encouraging for this, for that to be where we are, and then also to staff for all of the great work that you all do, building our community and making us stronger. And to your team, Brian, honestly, you guys have been doing really well. I'm really, really encouraged, and I echo the sentiments about these study sessions. We never used to get study sessions, and so we're very happy to have them because, you know, we're at the moment 4 very different people of various different backgrounds, and we have to figure out how we come to a consensus. And so this is a really good opportunity for us to put down, where we all stand, and let the developers try to make a puzzle out of that. But, you know, it really is important, I think. So thank you to your entire team, and thank you to other city staff for recent events. Okay, we'll pass it over to staff items.
Yes, and thank you so much for all those comments. We do love to serve the community and love to see these new projects come in. So we will encourage developers, especially when they're questioning whether it's the right project for the city, to bring them to a consultation. So just 3 items. We've been trying to, for several months, bring an economic gap analysis to the commission, but it's been a hit and miss with staff out of the office, or, you know, commissioners not a full board before you. But I have Miguel with our Economic Development Department, our director, committed for July 23rd. So hopefully we'll have everybody here, and you'll get to hear his gap analysis. And this was triggered because of a gas station project back in February. The question was, do we have too many gas stations? So hopefully you can shed some light on that. It's not going to be, you know, a fully exhaustive presentation, but I think you'll at least get a good taste of the software we have in order to look at different land uses and what the gap is. The second item, I wanted to put a quick slide up, should be back there for the IT department, for the East Indio Employment Corridor Annexation Study. Myself and our consultant, Dudek Consultants, are going to be doing a presentation to the City Council next Wednesday. And you can see on your screen, it's a very large study, so the consultant will do their best to summarize the results of that study. This is the phase 1 study. You can see there's the Eastern Sphere of Influence, that's crosshatched there in red, is the study area, but next week the council will also consider an option to expand the study area in that area that's just to the east, that box area, that they're also considering expanding that area. Staff will be recommending looking at the entire area because there seems to be some interest, and there's also a solar project that's in that area that is interested in being within the city limits. So we'll see what happens, and I'll bring that back and let you know what the results are if the council wants to move forward with the full expanded area. And then lastly, a quick just heads up, at the council meeting last month, the mayor as well as the rest of the council wanted someone from the planning commission, specifically the chair, to do a presentation. There's not an extreme rush on that, but do a quick presentation just kind of updating the council on some of the things that we're working on. And I'm sure there might be some questions from the council at that point. So I'll work directly with the chair on a short presentation, maybe 5 minutes, and then making sure that if there's any questions that you have for staff before that presentation, of course we'll be at the meeting, that I would be available for that as well. Those are my items. I don't want to be rude, but the staff items are not for discussion per se. They're just to give you a heads up on some of the items. So I apologize, I have to kind of say that. But other than that, those are all the items we have for the staff items.
Great. Just generally saying, I love a good 100-slide deck. So just Not about your comments. I'm just saying I love those. Look forward to making some. No, thank you so much for all of this, and we're looking forward to all the things to come. So we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting.
I have a question before.
Please.
Yes, on the staff items.
Okay.
So I hate to be the guy, but I know you've been trying to schedule this gap analysis presentation, but I just think that it would be better if you do it when we have a full planning commission. Right now, we're like one person down. So I don't know if it's something that you guys would like think is like a good idea or not, or if you guys want just, because I think if like for the new commissioner, it would be great to like be present and see actual this gap analysis. That way they can learn and be more like on the know, but this is just like my idea. I don't know what you guys feel.
Well, on Wednesday, sorry to interrupt, and then I'll let the commission continue. So on Wednesday, the city council will consider an appointment for a planning commissioner, so maybe we'll see what happens there. The problem is sometimes even after an appointment, they don't come, well, they probably won't come right away. So I guess that's something we can circle back. We would kind of prefer to move on with the gap analysis, but if you want to stall it, we're certainly, at your call if you would like to do that.
Yeah, I think we can continue to schedule it for the 23rd and highly encourage and say that all of the future colleagues are really excited to see this new appointee here on July 23rd for their benefit. If not, it's all recorded and online. And I'm sure it'll be the first of many different conversations that we'll be having. If memory serves right, we've done this a few times. All right, thank you so very much. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting to the next Planning Commission meeting, July 23rd. Thank you, everyone.